Good morning. Hey, it's Kirk Duncan here, and welcome to our training. A training I have for you to be able to help you be able to have the courage to step into becoming a life coach. Now, the reason I do this is because I know what it felt like in the beginning when I started to think and ponder about being a life coach. And it was not in my cards, right? Like it was just wasn't something that I was going to do. It just didn't seem like a shy introvert kid like me could ever turn into a teacher that would help other people, like presidents of companies and leaders, and teach other parents and teach all kinds of business owners. Like that was not in my mind. Like I could ever do something like that before. And so I'm here because I know you saw my email, you saw the social media post that said, hey, I'm doing a training on being a life coach, and the word life coach connected with you, or you're just curious, or you think the whole life coach thing is a big, weird industry and you think it's a big, big fake thing. Well, pay attention. Watch what happens during this training today, and you'll start to see how important it is that the world has more life coaches. There are not enough life coaches in this world because this world has problems and they're not getting solved fast enough. We've got problems and people are scared to death. People are hurting. People are struggling and they need help and they need support and they don't know where to turn. And so that's why you see so many people emerging to be a life coach. Now, here in front of you, I put up some guidelines of being a life coach. I've been doing this now for 17 years. I have taught and trained a lot of people, And what I love about this is the opportunity I have to serve people in so many different ways. Over these years of teaching people, I've had the opportunity to create, over 40 training programs. I have taught a lot of live seminars, live workshops, multiple day events, 3-day events. We were doing, a 3-day seminar once a month and sometimes twice a month. And we have done that for 12 years of doing that. We've done a lot of training. When I say we, I'm talking about myself and my team and my wife. My wife has been in on this too. We work together to change people's lives, and we know we're living our life purpose. That is the most satisfying, fulfilling thing I've ever found in my life, is that I'm living my life purpose. And as you look at this list in front of you here, we don't have just small audiences either. When we teach our classes, we've done very well over the years. And that's different because some people, they'll show up and do one event and they think they've arrived. It's like, oh, this, but we kept going and going and going and going. So we have been here for now going on 16 years, and we will keep going. This is what we do. We are here to make a difference because our lives changed because of a coach. Our lives changed because of somebody else, and it just dramatically changed us. So now we're passing it along. Over 18,000 hours of practice and experience. Boy, after you have 18,000 hours, you start to figure things out. Start to figure out what works, what doesn't work. Lots of presentations, lots of scholarships, creating our own programs, like creating the program myself, the content, the content that I offer, the content that I help people with, I created it myself. It wasn't somebody else's content. I didn't have somebody else's content, and then that's what I offered. It wasn't somebody else's product. And I'm pretty tickled about this. That's a huge thing for me growing up, because when I was growing up, I was super scared of salespeople and money and exchanges and transactions. So this has been a huge breakthrough for me. I don't know about you, what you struggle with, but this is something I struggled with years ago. Being on TV has been a beautiful experience to be able to serve people in so many different ways. And also we have some ethics around here. We have some morals around here that we don't use cuss language. We don't use, bad language, because in the background, we know the kiddos are watching. We know they're listening. And we hope that the kids hear what we teach. We're not the kind of seminar teachers and workshop teachers that you have to cover your kids' ears because of, the language that's being used, because it's like, you don't need that stuff in your head. But this right here is definitely give us the experience of, what I'm going to bring to the table today. I love being in front of live audiences. I love the live experience. I also love webinars. I just love the fact to be able to share with people. And today it's my turn to share with you. It's been a joy, like I said before, to work with my wife. She is a sweetheart and she loves people. We both love people. We know that change is possible. We've seen so many people break out of their shell. We've seen so many people transform. We've seen so many people change their lives. They just didn't know how to activate their mind. It is assumed that education and information wakes a person up, but there are functions of the mind that must be activated for that individual to come fully alive. And that's what we do. We teach people the techniques to activate their mind, and then they become active. It is so awesome. So we've been on stage together. We have taught and trained so much together. I love working with my spouse. I love working with my wife. I mean, this is like a dream come true. We are great business partners. We love each other. We have a fantastic marriage. And I got to tell you, I know why is because we are on the same purpose. We love to serve. We love to help. We love to teach. And it's just been an absolute dream to be able to work with her. She is just a doll. She's so funny. And when we're on stage together, it is hilarious. We're so different, but we're so aligned in the mission that we have to change people's lives. It's so cool. We've taught specialty classes. We've taught close, intimate groups where there's 10 people. We've taught webinars where there's 3,000 people on the webinar. Teach youth, teach women, teach men, teach entrepreneurs. We love to teach. I think some of the most precious times we've ever had is being able to have people in our home. That's just been an absolute incredible experience to just have that up close conversation, to be real and raw, and just to be with the people. Because if you like to teach, you're going to find every way you can to teach. And I know you might be nervous or scared, or maybe your confidence isn't there, but I hope today's training is going to help you. But I show you these pictures and I show you this information because when I was 35 years old, none of this had happened. None of this had happened when I was 35 years old. At 35 years old, I'm 51 right now. At 35 years old, I was still trying to figure out who I am. At 35, I was trying to figure out, who is this guy, Kirk Duncan? What am I going to do with my life? I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know that all of these bullet points here was going to happen over the next 16 years. It's like I did not open that envelope. I didn't open up that box. Had no clue these things were going to happen. It wasn't in my plan. I didn't have this big goal to be a seminar guy, a trainer, a mentor, a coach, a facilitator to help change people's lives and teach people all over the world. I didn't have that. It wasn't there. It wasn't. I think some people think, oh, you were born this way. It's like, no, I was born a different way. I was born nervous and shy, introvert, withdrawn, quiet. If I lined up in a line of people, I would be in the middle somewhere. There's no way I'd be out front. That wasn't my thing. So all this that you see here in front of you, it's happened recently, and it wasn't in the fiber of my being. Well, how did you do all this, Kirk? Well, I had to activate my mind. And I hope you're taking notes, because you're going to want to take notes, because you're going to hear me say things and you're going to get inspiration, and you're going to be writing down two different kinds of notes: what I say, but more importantly, what you get inspired of. Okay, so hear me on this one. Hear me on this one. I did not have my mind active. It wasn't active. I had a sleepy mind. It wasn't there. I had to wake it up. And I didn't know that there was this sleeping giant inside me. I didn't know that. I didn't get a message saying that there's this sleeping giant of a teacher in me. It's like, whatever. And I know you probably have been telling yourself the same thing. Like, oh, I could never do that. I said the same things. I'm not kidding. I told myself, I can't do that. That's not possible. There's no way. And so as I go to share with you, I know what it's like to have nothing to start with. I know what it's like to have no belief, no confidence, no content, no program, no outline, no steps, nothing. And I know that's why I'm so supportive of people when they first start, is because I know what that's like. I did not get handed a silver spoon. It didn't get handed to me. I had to figure some things out. But here's the thing though, am I trying to, create you to be a person who stands on stage in front of 1,000 people? Maybe we could wake up that sleeping giant inside you today. Maybe. It depends. You know how you're stubborn. You know how you are stubborn. And you're kind of like that quiet stubborn. Sometimes you act out. But you know how you're stubborn and you keep, demanding that, oh, I can't do that. That's being stubborn. And I don't care how old you are. Age means nothing. The only thing it means is that you've been on the earth that many years. I'm 51, so that means I was born 51 years ago. That's the only thing age means. Age does not determine your skill level. Age does not determine your intelligence. Age does not determine your wisdom. I know people who are, 70, 80 years old who still act like a little kid, which I think is so awesome. But sometimes they act immature and they act like a kid and they kind of mess up their life too. So age does not matter. It's desire, right? It's what's inside you. It's not how many years. It's what's inside. Like when I first started, 16 years ago, I saw this guy, Wayne Dyer. I don't know if you know Wayne Dyer. Bless his soul. He's in heaven. Wayne Dyer's in heaven, and I know he's one of my guardian angels. He'll stop by every once in a while and motivate me and support me and tell me he believes in me. But I saw him on TV one time, and the TV was on, and it was a Saturday morning, and there's this guy on TV, and he's telling a story. And I'm like, okay, that guy looks cool. He's this older guy, and he's telling the story, and there's this huge, huge building with tons of people in it listening to him. And he was helping people. And I watched him. Holy cow, I'm going to get emotional about it. That was a surprise. I didn't know I was going to get emotional about it. But I remember watching him. I just stopped in the living room for a second. So I think like Saturday morning cartoons were over and the kids are off playing. And there's this guy on stage named Wayne Dyer. And I was like, I kind of feel this. I kind of feel like there's a connection here. But then my head got in the way and said, oh, you can't do that. But my heart said, there's something here. And my head got in the way and said, oh, you're barely a high school graduate. You can't do this. And I'm standing in my living room looking at Wayne Dyer on stage and feeling like there's something there for me. Something's there. It wasn't envy. It wasn't jealousy. It wasn't comparison. It was a feeling like I want to do that. I want to do that. But then quick, my head comes in and goes, hey, hold on. we just evaluated. You did bad in school. You're only a high school graduate, barely. You got no credibility. You got no certificates. You got no training. You got nothing. You can't do that. Man, how many times did that happen to you? Right? How many times have you felt like you ought to head a particular direction, and then your head got in the way and totally discredited everything? And then guess what you and I did? You and I believed what was in our head. What? It's like, what are you doing? But that's what we did. That's what we, that I know you do that because I've done it. And if I've done it, I'm a human being. You've done it. And if you deny that right now, you're so deceiving yourself. It's like, no, come on, let's throw some truth on the table right now. Right? Like this, you're here for this webinar. Let's like really put some truth on the table to kind of really look at things. So I was looking at Wayne Dyer on the stage, and I had a feeling, this feeling of like, that would be cool to help a bunch of people. And I felt that. I want to help people. And then my head got in the way, right? So I've got my head in the way, discounting me. I've got my heart, or wherever that feeling was, we're just going to call it the heart. I had my heart connecting to what Wayne Dyer was, what he was doing. And I remember looking at him, and I just for a second, imagined me on a stage in a big room in front of a bunch of people. Just for a second, I imagined it. Like I was Wayne Dyer. And I was on stage, and I was wearing his cool shirt. I was walking on the stage. And when I imagined that, my head got in the way again. And as soon as I imagined me being on stage teaching a bunch of people, my head got in the way and said, that will never happen. That's what my head said. That will never happen. And so I quit the image. I quit the imagination. Because I guess my head is the smartest thing on the planet, and it's the all-knowing. I guess my head is the all-knowing, and it can predict the future accurately. So I guess since my head says it, it must be the law, the truth, that will never happen. Well, in front of you, you see a picture of me on a stage in front of 1,000 people. That's only one side of the room. In front of 1,000 people, you see me on stage, and my head told me it would never happen. Never happen. My head also told me I could never create a program that would change people's lives. My head also told me I would never be able to keep doing this. My head also told me people would never come to a class. My head also told me that you would not be able to do this longer than a month or two. My head also told me that I would quit. My head also told me that nobody would purchase what I create. That's what my head told me. This all-knowing, all-powerful gray matter inside my skull told me that no one would be interested, no one would show up, I couldn't do this, and I would never do this, and that this is impossible. That's what my head told me. And guess what? Your head tells you what you can't do, and guess what? You believe it too. You believe it. You believe that your head is the all-knowing guru of all things on this planet, like it's some kind of god. You do it too. I did it. You do it too. You think the gray matter in your head is some kind of god, like it knows the future. It knows your capacity. It knows what you're capable of. And you bow down to your gray matter like it's a god. And if it says you can't do something, you believe it like I believed it. Hey, if I did it, you do it. You can't get away from that. You're a human and you're part of the human race. We're part of the same human family. So if I went through this, you've gone through this, or you're going through it today where you're like, oh, I could never do that. And it's like, oh, your gray matter is a god? What? Are you worshiping your brain? Are you obeying your brain? Hey, I just want to remind you, you had to teach your brain how to tie a shoe. It had no clue. You had to potty train that brain. You had to teach it how to use a zipper, how to do buttons, how to put your clothes on, how to ride a bike. Your brain has not known anything growing up. But I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the way, we all of a sudden turn our brain into a god and is the all-knowing and all-decisive of what you're capable of and what is possible. And I'll tell you now, as a life coach and as a mentor, I see people obeying their brain. I watch them obey their brain and it's like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, I have this thought that says I can't do this. And I'm like, so? Well, I don't know. I don't think I can do this. I'm like, hold on. Wait, no. And so I spend most of my time as a life coach convincing people that their brain is not a god. It's not. It is not. It is gray matter that you had to teach to tie a shoe. You had to learn how to get food from your bowl on your spoon into your mouth without spilling it on your nice new clothes. You had to teach this thing, but somewhere along the way, it takes on this God form, and you now like listen to it like it's the all-knowing and it's the all-decisive. Look at me. I'm on stage. You see the picture? I'm on stage. My brain told me it would never happen. It told me it would never happen. What is your brain telling you that you can't do? What's it telling you? And are you listening to it like it is the all-knowing? It's like you crawl up the mountain to this brain thing idol on the top of the mountain, and you're like worshiping your brain like it knows everything. It doesn't. It doesn't know everything. It doesn't know the future. Your brain does not know what's going to happen later today. It doesn't know. It does know what happened in the past because it keeps really good records of everything you've ever done. But you want to write this down. The brain takes your past and uses it as a prediction for the future. That's how it predicts the future. Your brain takes the past and uses that information to predict your future. So if you're a screw up, if you're a mess up, if you've made mistakes, and if you feel terrible about your mistakes and you feel like you're a terrible person, well, then it takes terrible and it predicts terrible into today and tomorrow. Your brain takes yesterday and predicts it into tomorrow because that's all it's got. And most people believe those predictions. That's what's messed up with us as a human race, is we believe the predictions that the mind is taking from the past and slapping it on tomorrow. And so we're always scared and wigged out about tomorrow. We're always like, I can't do this. It's not going to come together. This isn't going to work. And it's like, who told you that? Well, my head. Oh, so your head is a god. It is the all-knowing. It's not. It's not. But I did the same thing. Look at this picture. My brain told me that would never happen. Hello, brain. Look. Look. Do you think my brain tells me it can't happen anymore? Nope, because it did happen. Wow. This is trippy, isn't it? Yeah. I was told by my brain it's impossible. And there's a picture of me. And how many of these have I done? Let's go back and count. Okay, how many presentations? 5,000. Oh, I'm way over 6,000. Way over 6,000. I got to update this. But I'm way over 6,000. 6,000 times of giving presentations. And my brain told me I can't do it. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, I got to tell you, though, watch people around you. I'm serious. Listen to people. Obey their brain. Listen to them. Listen to how people say, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I don't have that. There's no way. And they just like, it's like, who told you that? And then they'll find out, oh, it was my head. And it's like, well, how come your head's the thing that decides things? What? But Kirk, I don't have the education. Neither did I. Kirk, I don't have the skills. Neither did I. If you don't have education, you get education. If you don't have skills, you get the skills. And then you go do the thing. I don't know where it happens. I don't know where it happens, but somewhere along the way, there's this weird thing that happens to our heads as people that we go from believing we can learn and gain skills and apply it and increase our life to like, we only evaluate what we have. And then based upon that evaluation, it decides everything. It's like, what? Maybe we all need to go back to school and realize we're always learning. You know what? I think I know where it's at. After you got out of school, I think you stopped learning. Well, okay, let's look at that one for a second. I think when you stop going to school, there's no more homework, there's no more study, there's no more tests. And so it's like, I'm done learning. I am super smart now, and my brain will guide me through life and determine what's best for me. That's where it happens. Wow. Okay, so I hope you're getting something from this, because what I'm laying down for you on the table in front of you is you are believing your brain as the all-knowing predictor of what you can and what you can't do. I hope you become wise enough to challenge that prediction. Challenge that prediction. My brain told me what you see in front of you would never happen. And I had to challenge it to go, you know what? I'm doing it. You can't. I'm doing it. You're not smart enough. I'm doing it. People are going to laugh at you. They're going to mock you. You're going to look like a fool. And I'm like, I'm still doing it. I felt it in my heart. And now I got to deal with my head talk that is discounting everything I'm doing. It just discounts. You know you do this. You totally know you do this. And if you dare say, oh, I don't do this, whatever. You're so funny. You're so funny. So yeah, guess what? You're not the only one. Yeah, you're not the only one. You're not the only one who is dealing with head talk. All the garbage, all the discounting, all the discrediting. You're not the only one. Guess who else deals with it? Every person on the planet. Every person on the planet deals with head talk. What did I just give you? What insight did I just give you? That's why life coaches are needed in high demand, because everybody has head talk issues. Everybody's believing their brain like it's a god, and they think that it's the all-knowing, the all-predicting, the all-figure stuff out. And then that's why people are so held back. It's why they're stuck. It's why they're up against a wall. It's why they're so held back. It's why marriages are having issues. Why entrepreneurs can't get their business off the ground is because they're listening to their head. And it's predicting all this junk that isn't true. And they believe it. They believe the self-made story. I tell you, that's where we're messed up as a human race, is we believe our self-made stories. It's a mess. Life coaches are in huge demand because we got so many people struggling and they have no idea why they're struggling. They don't. They need someone to teach them. Look, there's Kirk and Kim. Kirk from Lander, Wyoming, Kim from Sandy, Utah. Couple of kids. Got married, struggled for their marriage until they're both about 35 years old, and then they both woke up and realized that their brain is not a god, and then began to take over their life. At 35 years old, this guy and girl in front of you started to take over their life. And as we took over our life and we began to be in charge of our life, other people asked us, what are you doing? Oh, we're doing this and this and this. Oh, teach me how to do that. So we started teaching people. And now we've been doing this for going on 16, 17 years. Teach people all over the world. We have clients all over the world. And we're a couple of kids. We're so normal. It's just that we don't believe our mind is a god. And most other people do. They don't know they're assuming that, but they trust the all-knowing thought. And when it says you can't do this and you can't, they believe. They believe. And they don't question it. They just believe whatever is said in their head. Man, that just screams we need more life coaches to help people understand how to get control of their head. It's what freaks people out. They get fear in their head and then they believe it. They get catastrophe thinking and then they believe it. They won't go try something new because their brain says it's going to fail, and so they don't. And so then the person becomes miserable, anxious, depressed, lose their identity, get upset with their spouse and their kids, and yell at their kids and yell at their spouse because they're so miserable. And they're miserable because they're following a brain. That's what they're doing. No, you got to tell your brain how to tie a shoe. You got to teach your brain how to ride a bike. It's not the one running the show. You run the show. Teach it what you're going to do. Now, I just opened a can of worms there. I just opened a can of worms because now you're like, what? Should I question everything in my head? You need to pay attention to what's going on in your head. And if your brain says you can't do that, I would not just sit down and obey that. I'd be like, why can't I? Why can't I become a life coach? Why can't I become a facilitator? Because if you felt it, if it was in your heart, oh man, you got your head in the way. That's the only thing in the way is your head. If you felt it, if you've ever felt like being a teacher and stand on stage and help people, if you've ever felt sitting with one person and helping them problem solve. Like, you want to do that. The only thing in your way is your head. And you need education and you need skill training. But that you can get. That you can get. So we've been on TV a bunch. Kirk Duncan on TV? There's my senior year in high school. If somebody would have walked up to me and said, hey, by the way, you're going to be on TV a lot when you grow up, I'd be like, whatever. I don't want to be on TV. And I would have just told him, like, there's no way possible. If somebody would have said, hey, Kirk, I know you're only 16 years old, but I just want you to know you'll be on TV teaching people. There's no way. My head could not comprehend this. Your head can't comprehend what you're possible of. Your head can't wrap around it because it doesn't know. Listen carefully, if you will, please. Your head doesn't know what you're capable of. It has no clue. It doesn't. It doesn't know the future. You have to remember this. Your head is pulling past experiences and throwing them into the future. That's all it's got. That's it. And it usually dredges up every mess up you've ever done and throws it into the future. Throws it into tomorrow. And then that's why you don't take your action steps. It's why you're not gutsy. It's why you're not courageous. It's why you're not bold. It's why you don't do things that are risky, is because your subconscious is taking your past and throwing it into tomorrow and causing paranoia. Man, I hope you're writing this down, because if you get this, this could be a game changer today. It's your head. It's your head. You see these awards? I didn't try for those. I just went out and helped people. I'm not an award seeker, like I have to have a trophy. I don't need to have a trophy. Are you kidding? I love people. I go help people, and then other organizations go, hey, by the way, did you know you did good? Oh, we did? Yeah, do you want a trophy? All right, sure. It wasn't like we're like, oh, we got to have this. No, it's like, let's just go help people. Let's go really do our best. Do your best. You do your best. You get active. Cool things will happen along the way. It's your head. Don't worry, we're going to talk more about this. I'm going to break it down for you, what's going on and what you need to do. Okay, so let's get to some pieces here that you read in an email, and you're like, okay, am I going to get that from this webinar? Of course you are. Okay, look at this. Okay, let's get your head revved up. Okay, now hear me on this. You know what? I can tell you're already reading. Okay, so hold on a second. Hold on. Wait a second. If you want to move forward, you have to do forward moving activities. If you want to stay stuck, keep thinking about everywhere you messed up in your life. And keep reminding yourself you're a mess up. Go ahead. You can create stuck all by yourself. You're good at it. All you got to do to be stuck is think about everything you can't do. And you'll continue to be stuck today, and you'll be stuck tomorrow, and you'll be stuck next week, and you'll wonder what's wrong with you. It's because it's what you're doing to yourself. You are creating the stuck. Not somebody else, not your spouse. Quit blaming your spouse, not your kids. Nothing else is creating stuck. You keep reviewing what you can't do. And because you review what you can't do, then it goes into tomorrow and makes you paranoid about tomorrow. And so then you hesitate, you procrastinate, and you become a perfectionist. Like, oh, I can't do anything unless it's totally perfect. That's paranoia. Perfectionism is a level of paranoia. Oh, it's got to be right for this to ever work. Now, I believe in doing things nicely and doing my best, but I'm not going to sit around waiting for perfectionism to really work. Paranoia drives us to do things that are weird, out of character. So as long as you continue to think about what you can't do and all of your deficiencies, I will hand you a trophy that has stuck on it. And you can have a full wall of stuckness. you can have it, but you got to know your stuck experience, you are creating it. And I know that it's easier to blame. It's like really convenient to blame. You can kind of just, like, oh, look at my spouse. They're the reason. Oh, look at my house. It's messy. That's the reason. Look at my office. I'm unorganized. I can't teach people because I'm organized. Yeah, keep spewing the I can'ts and you won't. If you talk in the I can't language, you definitely won't. It's never going to happen. Like you are damning and destroying yourself. Like stopping yourself. Big old Hoover Dam. Bam. Stopping it right there. You're doing it. That's a little bit of a wake-up call to go, yeah, it's you. You're focused on the can'ts. You're focused on your mistakes. And you keep reviewing all of your issues that you have and all of your problems, and then you can't move forward. And then so you blame somebody else. Well, I'm busting you on that. And you get to quit it. You get to grow up and be more mature. That is an immature way to act in life, is to blame somebody else. That's what kids do. Kids blame other kids for what happened. That's a teenager way of living. That's a 12, 13, 14, well, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old type of behavior, is to blame somebody. If you do that as an adult, well, we all kind of see how immature that is. But there's a lot of immature adults. I hope you're not one of them, but if you are, you get to stop today and you get to quit blaming people and acting like a rebellious child. Own it. You've got to look at the fact that your head is what is holding you back. Your head. And the stuff you're focusing on in your head is messing with you and your progress. You have to hear me on this. You really, like, if you're tuning me out, listen. If it's not me that says it to you, somebody else is going to have to say it to you again, and then somebody else and somebody else. So today you get to listen. You are being immature to blame people. Knock it off. Take ownership for what's going on in your head. Take ownership. You are focused on everything you can't do and where all your mess ups are and all your deficiencies and all your weaknesses and all your mistakes. You're hyper focused on all your flaws. And that then gets projected into tomorrow. And so you're super paranoid to make a mistake. Super paranoid. And being paranoid causes you to make very weird decisions, which then cause more problems. So your head issue is really the cause of this. And you blaming people, I don't know if somebody's tried before to get you to not blame, but I'm going to be the next person in your life to say, knock it off. No more blame. Bite your tongue. No more blame. And quit blaming people way back in your past. Really? Stop it. What's that doing for you? What is it doing for you? Oh, it's deferring who is responsible for the issue. And what's that doing for you? Nothing, because you're not fixing yourself. You're not working on yourself. You can't work on yourself when you blame other people because you think it's them and that they have to change. You think they have to change for your life to get better. How is that working for you? It doesn't work, does it? It's not they have to change for your life to get better. For things to change, you are the one to change. It's you. It's you. I know. That's not a fun thing to think about. Like, Kirk just called me immature. Yeah, I did. I'll even look you in the eye and say that. You need to stop being immature. You get to grow up and be mature by taking ownership that you are the cause for your stuckness. You are the cause for your paranoia. And if you don't get a grip on what's going on in your head, nothing is going to progress in the way you've always wished it could, because it can't, because you are stuck in the can'ts. Okay, this is all out of love, right? And I know there might be a few people who are going, you can't talk to me this way. Okay, all right, go find this exact same answer from a book and then waste another day of your life acting like you know what's going on in your life. I'm serious. This was the tough conversation for me when somebody did this to me, and I was so mad. I was so mad at them. I was so mad. I was like, don't say this to me. I was so grumpy. I'm like the worst student. When I was going to classes, like seminars and workshops, I was the worst student. And Kim could tell you that I was. She was like, yeah, he was grumpy. Because people would tell me stuff and it would tick me off. I was so negative. I was so bad, negative. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. Okay, we got to get onto this next screen. So what you got to do is, to get past your head stuff, is you got to start thinking forward with fresh, new thoughts. Okay, you hear that? You today can have some fresh, new thoughts. Now, remember that when you try to move forward, your head is going to come up and say, hey, you can't do this. This is stupid. It's just going to say that stuff. It's going to throw predictions all over you. And you're going to go, yeah, whatever, love you, but I'm still doing it. Okay, so 5 steps to get started as a life coach. Number 1, you got to detail out what you feel called to do. What is it? Is it help people? Okay. Then you would write down, number 1, I want to help people. And it's like, okay, how do you want to help them? This is still number 1. How do you want to help them? And if you're like, I don't know, don't write, I don't know. Just playfully imagine, if you could do anything, what would you want to help people do? How would you want to help people? And just playfully write those answers down. This is not a test. It's an awakening. Okay, this is not a test. There's no right or wrong answers. It's an awakening, because your head's been stuck in repeat mode from the past, and it's making you immature, and you're going to step up to mature, and you're going to start thinking forward. And so you're going to think, okay, I am going to serve people. I'm going to help people. How do you want to help them? What do you want to do? Do you want to help women? Feel like, help moms be better moms, help women entrepreneurs. You want to help guys, develop their business. You want to help people with marketing. You want to help people with learn how to do better childcare. You want to help couples communicate better. You want to help people find God. You want to help people get their life cleaned up, their finances. What do you know? What could you help people with? You feel the desire. What do you got? What do you want to do? And maybe you lack the skill in the area that you feel like you want to help people. It's okay. You can learn that skill. If you're like, well, I really want to help people with finances, but I've never taken a class on that. It's okay. Write it down. Because what you're doing is you're creating an awakening, that you're actually allowing these thoughts to happen, and you're documenting this. Now, remember, your brain's going to come up and go, you can't do that because you're not certified. It's like, fine, I'll go get certified. Well, you can't do that because you're not trained. Fine, I'll go get trained. Whatever your brain throws at you, you can have a comeback. If it says, oh, you're stupid, fine, I'll go learn. But it's going to come up and try to discount you and discredit you. And then you have a debate. Hey, I'll learn. I'll figure out the skill. Somebody needs to talk back to your subconscious. Somebody needs to. And it's best if it's you. that when it's throwing smack at you and it's telling you what you can't do, you tell it back, hey, I'm going to figure this out. You get to have a voice up against your subconscious. Somewhere along the way, your subconscious took over and became the bossy pants of you. And your subconscious is bossy pants to you, and it's just bossing you around to what you can and can't do, when you can do things, when you can't do things. And it took over because you quit being the one to teach it. And so now it's the all-knowing. I am serious about this. This is real. Okay, so number one, this is forward thinking. This is the awakening. What do you feel like you ought to do? And if you lack the skill, you lack the education, it's okay. You don't have to have all that in place yet. You write down whatever those thoughts are. Then number two, who is it that you want to serve? If you could talk to anybody and you could talk to them, another person, just like them, and you would just love it, who is that person you'd want to talk to? It's like, number two is like creating a profile. Excuse me. It's like creating a profile of like, you mean I get to pick who I want to? Well, the more you design who this person is that you want to talk to, the more you wake up your mind into forward thinking. Because what you think about is what your mind searches for. So if you think about terrible things, then your mind looks for terrible things. So if you're looking for a particular person, or if you have identified a particular person, your mind will start to look for that person. It's so cool. Your mind will go forward with instruction. And this is what we're doing. We're giving instruction to the mind so it'll wake up and move forward and not sit there and be stuck and discredit and discount you anymore. Number three, document what advice and or training you would give. Like, what would you teach them? What do you think they need? What do you think they're missing? Where's the glitch? Where's the fault? Where's the fall down moment? What do you feel like this person would need to be able to do better in their life? Whatever person, whatever group of people. And again, remember, this is playfully writing these things down. It's not a test. You're not going to be graded on this. You're awakening your mind. You're opening up the ideas. And all of this is definitely open for edit. You can edit this along the way. You can fine tune along the way. You might even switch the kind of person that you're going to work with because you didn't know. But you got to get started so you can activate your mind in where you're going. Because an inactive mind is just going to complain, whine, moan, blame, and say it can't, and say they're stupid, and then just sit there. So we got to open up your mind, wake it up, get it moving. And so number three, write down what advice or training you would give. And even if you're not sure if it's right for them or not, just write it down. Please write it down to wake up your mind. This is an emerging. This is a coming out of the cocoon kind of a thing. It's like, whoa, let's stretch our wings here and write down some things that have come to your mind. Okay, next one. Enroll a person to practice your content with. I know. What? What do you mean, Kirk? Call a friend. Hey, friend, I got a crazy idea. I want to help people in how to be a better parent. And I need somebody to practice some of my ideas on. And your friend will be like, what? What do you mean? Well, can I set up a phone call with you? And I'm going to pretend like you're a client and that I'm going to teach you some things or share some things with you that I think are important. And I'm going to practice teaching you. Is that cool? And then your friend's like, yeah, that sounds cool. I'd want to know what you're teaching. Yeah, it's only going to be for 30 minutes. Let's just do a phone call or a web camera or an online web video through Zoom or another service. And And let's just practice. Now, this is totally chill. This is not all serious and professional, which I know you're going to try to make it, but just keep it chill, just on the lowdown, just really nice and easy, very casual. And then you're going to talk to your friend and you're going to share your ideas with your friend. That's the biggest piece, is number 4. Share your ideas with a friend, but intentionally, not just in casual conversation, but as a somewhat organized teaching moment. Now, this is waking you up to the life coach world, like helping somebody, but it's a friend. It's not a business. The friend didn't pay you. You don't have a business license yet. Don't worry about all that stuff right now. Don't worry about that. We got to just wake you up to the fact that you can do this. Because if you have some belief that you could do this, then you'll do more. But we got to wake up the belief. Got to see it happen. So number 4, you find somebody, you say, hey, Kurt, could it be a family member? Totally fine. Totally fine. I'm not too hung up on number 4, who this person is. I would suggest that they're 18 years or older, just so that they're conscious and stuff. And if you want to teach teenagers, okay, then you're going to work with a teenager, right? But anyway, you're practicing and you're taking what you think is good advice and you give them that advice. Now, you might not have any teaching skills. Maybe you just don't know how to teach. Maybe you don't know the 7 learning styles. Maybe you don't know about the importance of diagrams and lists. Maybe you don't know about listening or how to do Q&A. Maybe you don't know all these great components about teaching, but you don't have to right now. Those you can learn along the way. Right now, it's just sharing advice that you feel is important with another human being. Number 4 here is super important because it's called activity. Number 1, number 2, number 3 is a gathering of information. Number 4 is the activity of sharing that information. This is where the magic happens. You go to share with a friend casually, playfully, and then the appointment's over. The conversation's over. And then after that conversation, you do number 5. Document what worked and what didn't work and what you need to adjust. Make the adjustment and find the next person to practice with. That is super important. Number 5. I'll explain why. If you don't see what worked and what didn't work, you will miss out on seeing progress. And if you don't write down what worked and what didn't work, whatever didn't work is going to nag you. It's going to eat at you that you made a mistake, that you did something weird, like it didn't quite turn out right. But if you don't document this with the plan of making adjustments, you'll quit. Most people quit right after they try something. And they made a mistake while they were trying. And right after they try, they quit because they have an unfair evaluation going on inside their mind. A very unfair evaluation that they made a mistake, they now feel stupid, and so they quit. That's where most people quit, is right after they try it, whatever it is. If they made a mistake or they felt awkward or they felt weird, they'll quit right afterwards because of an unfair evaluation. Now remember, you are coming from a way of living that negativity has come up a lot in your head. and a lot of pessimism, a lot of questioning, a lot of doubts, lots of doubts, lots of doubts. And so when you go to try this, coach thing to help somebody and you make a mistake, all those doubts are just going to come pile on you to say, see, you were a mess up. See, we told you you're stupid. See? And they're just going to gang tackle you if you don't have a process of evaluating your performance. If you don't have a process to evaluate your performance, you will end up quitting. You'll quit whatever. If you look at everywhere you've quit, it's because you didn't have a fair evaluation after you gave it a good try. I've done coaching for 16 years. I know where people quit. I know why they quit. I know how it all comes together for them to quit. Part of being a great life coach is to know where people quit so you can help them so they don't quit. So unfair evaluations is why people quit. Because anytime we try something, we make a mistake. But that mistake gets added to all of our past doubts, all of our past mistakes. And then it feels gigantic sitting on our head. And then we're like, oh, see, I knew I couldn't do this. I feel awkward. I feel embarrassed. I feel stupid. Yeah, this isn't for me. It's like, oh, it was your first practice. It's like, calm down. It's your first practice. But that mistake or that little embarrassing moment heaped onto everything from your past. Do you get what I'm talking about? If you get what I'm talking about right here about unfair evaluation, make a comment right now and give me a message, a signal. Just tell me that you get what I'm talking about. Like, this is a critical point. Have you ever seen somebody that you care about finally muster up the courage to try, and they get into the try mode and they're trying it out and they do something wrong and they quit? You've seen it happen. You've seen it happen. You've even done this before. You've quit because of an unfair evaluation. And so it's super important to have a fair evaluation on yourself, or you'll quit. Now, what do you mean, Kirk? What does this look like? Okay, here's a way to do this. A way to do this is to have a list of what did not work. You see that right there? That means didn't work. The star means did work. So find 2, 3, or 4 things that didn't go well in your practice. Find 2, 3, or 4 things that did go well. So this is a fair evaluation, 4 and 4. So that's important, that the 2 lists are balanced. Both of them are balanced. Okay, so as you're practicing with this fair evaluation, then from the things that didn't go well, you come up with 1, 2, or 3 things you can adjust after your evaluation of how you did. Then from this list, you choose 1 to make an adjustment. I mean, if you got the brain space, do 2. But if you can make 1 good adjustment from each time you try, you're going to get really good at this. I'm serious. This is Kirk Duncan's equation for success. I've watched so many people succeed because they did a fair evaluation. And I've watched so many people quit because of an unfair self-evaluation. It's in the evaluation that a person hits the divide in the road, and are they going to take this path or that path, to quit or keep going? And if they don't have a process to evaluate their performance, they will quit. Guaranteed. they'll shut down. They'll shut down. Wow. Huge, huge, huge on this one. Okay. So that's number 5. Number 5 is that's what it's about with this evaluation, is because if we don't have the process when you first start out wanting to be a coach, a facilitator, a presenter, you want to do webinars, do seminars, it doesn't matter what you do. If it's something you've never done before, or something that you're trying, number 5, if you don't have a self-evaluation that's fair, you're going to struggle. It's going to take a long time, and there's a good 90% of chance you'll quit. Sooner or later, you'll quit. Let's say you have a team of people, and you have a business where you have a product and you have a team, and you're noticing that your team is struggling with motivation. The reason why a person struggles with motivation is because of an unfair self-evaluation. What else would rob somebody of their motivation? Negativity. Negativity takes motivation down. It's so simple. Negativity drops motivation. So if you have a team and your people are not motivated, it's because they're wrestling with the doubts, the mistakes, and the issues, and they're not fairly evaluating themselves. So if you want your team to get better, teach them how to have a fair evaluation and get them into the mindset, oh, this is what happened. Here's my 4 things that didn't go well. Here's the 4 things that did go well. Here's what I'm going to adjust. I'm going to make an adjustment. Because if you can teach them the value of adjustment, guess what? You're teaching them how to become an innovator. And we as human beings love innovation. We love that. It's creative. It's using our mind. It's building something new. It's making something better. We love innovation. But when there is a poor self-evaluation, they slip right into negativity. Their past begins to haunt them, and they get caught up in all their mistakes and all their issues, and they lose motivation because they're not in innovation. Innovation creates motivation, but they need something to innovate, but they've got to see what to adjust, but they have to keep track of what worked and what didn't work. This is what I love about coaching. You find the psychology of how things work, and it's so good. It's so good. Oh, so good. But you're going to find a majority of people don't have a good evaluation process. They don't. That's why you see a majority of people stuck. They're happy, but they're miserable. They're happy on the outside. They're a little miserable on the inside. And they're miserable because they don't know what's wrong, because they've lost motivation. They've lost hope for themselves. It's because of an unfair evaluation. So not cool. It's so sad. I'm going to say it. It's sad. It's sad. But now you know. Now I'm talking to you, but you see I'm talking to you about other people. And so if you got a team, your family, your spouse, if your spouse has lost motivation, it's because of an unfair evaluation. And they didn't come to a conclusion of being able to find the thing to adjust that they could do. Once a person realizes they have the power to adjust and try again, they start to wake up. It's when they lose the insight that they can adjust. This is the biggest thing right here. If we can't adjust, then there is no hope. Boy, that's a mic drop. If we can't adjust and we don't see how to adjust, then we lose hope, because there's no way for anything to change. We lose hope. This is the magic right here. But it comes from do your fair evaluation, find what to adjust, narrow it down to one thing that's doable. Make the adjustment, go do it again. And then you go through the same thing. Okay, if you're getting something from this, we make a comment. Just tell me you're getting something. I just want to hear from you. You getting something? So good though, huh? It's so good. It's so good. Okay. That's to help you. This is to help you get some forward thinking. Got to get you going forward, right? Got to make sure you're going forward. Okay, so now this probably doesn't need to be said, but I'll just go ahead and say it. Is this right here? Is problems come from what goes on inside your head. Oh, look at this. You can do a webinar too. Spell check. Love it. Okay. So discounting yourself, the awkwardness, thinking you don't have to practice, hiding your talent. You think everybody's just like you, like, oh, we're all the same. We're all just stuck. No, you're different. You're different. The more you start to see that you are capable, as long as you see you're capable, your abilities will increase. If you see yourself as incapable, your abilities will drop. I hope you're hearing me. It's very simple. If you see yourself as capable, then your abilities will increase. They'll go up. It's where your head is pointed. If you see yourself as being capable, they'll go up. But if you let your past bring up all the junk, you'll drop. So keep that straight in your head, like what's going on. And this is what I mean. So let's look at this. Here's the past. Here's the past. Here's the future, right? Consciously, we tend to focus towards the future, like today. Okay, I got to do this. I got to make breakfast. Okay, I got to do this. But subconsciously, it's on default, it's more focused on what has happened. And so it's back here going, oh, this is what's happened. And then it thinks that's what's going to happen again and again and again. And so conscious tends to be trying to move forward, but subconscious is back here going, nope, you're a mess up. You're a screw up. You didn't do any, you can't do anything right. Look at you. You're always making mistakes. You're hopeless. So the subconscious back here does gather all that information. And so it holds you in the past. And so then the subconscious, whoops, hold on. I need an arrow. Missing an arrow. Wait for it. There we go. Arrow on the screen. Okay. So subconscious then will change the way you consciously think. So subconscious runs the conscious naturally. So then it will drag the conscious back here and get stuck on the past. And then there you are. That's what stuck looks like. And so then your actions, well, you could be like, you want to go, but you can't because your head is stuck. I'm like, what? So consciously, we're talking today to move your head forward. And as long as you can listen and hear your subconscious bringing up all the negative stuff, you can start to pull your subconscious up here to the front so that it'll move forward. But that's going to happen because of consistency on working on these 5 beginning steps. Not all the steps. We don't have enough time right now to do all the steps, but it's the 5 steps to get you started. But that's what you're attempting to do in your head, is that you have your conscious and you have your subconscious. And the subconscious, it does take what it knows and it does impress upon the consciousness how to act. Subconscious tends to be in the back. Conscious tries to be up in the front, but it can get pulled back. It can. So what happens is you're trying to move forward, but then you got this big, strong energy pulling you back because of all your past mistakes. And it's just it's moving forward, going backwards. If you ever feel like you're going backwards, or if you ever feel like things are slipping, it's because your subconscious is reviewing your past. And so you slip back and you consciously are listening to all your mistakes, and you will slip and slide back. And you try to move forward. Have you ever heard the statement, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back? Have you heard that before? I'm sure you have. The reason why you go 2 steps forward, the subconscious will win 3 steps back. If you're like this is called insanity. You're working your tail off to move forward, but the subconscious is boss. Whatever's in your subconscious, that's what you end up doing. And so it's pulling you back. You take 2 steps forward, it pulls you 3 steps back, and you always feel like you're behind. It's because your subconscious is not in your control. It's the boss. You can pull it to the future as you take over and begin to become the teacher again. But if you don't, it'll stick back here, and it will just keep dragging your hope back here and get you right back to where you were. You try to move forward and you just slide right back into your past behaviors. That's because your subconscious is locked in on the past. I suggest locking your subconscious in on the future, and your consciousness will stay on the future, and then you go this way. I like going this way. I honor my past, but I don't need to relive it over and over again. But I want to go this way. But you got to have your subconscious up here. So you got to do subconscious techniques to open and wake up your mind. And that's my specialty, is to help people to move forward. And this is how I teach and train people to become life coaches, because I want to help them get their head straight, like what I'm doing with you right now, get you pointed forward. And so we do things intentionally. We use techniques, we use tools, we use processes to get your head moving forward. Then you can do what you feel called to do, because your head is in on it. Because if your head's not in on it, it's not happening. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So over here in this little box, there's 2 things: how you feel and your head talk. And your head talk could be back here, and then that is where your subconscious is, and it will drag your consciousness back and you feel stuck. If you could change your head talk to being about the future, you're consciously now putting yourself into what's going to happen, and you can retrain your subconscious to come to the front. But your feelings and your head talk get to be on this side of the fence, not on the back side. If your feelings are back here and your head talk is back here, it makes sense that your subconscious is back here and you consciously are back here. And now you are going to live a repeat life. And this up here is going to seem impossible. So slim, impossible. But that's what's going on. That's what we're doing here is the 5 I just gave you is the beginning steps to move you into forward thinking, because it's a real thing. And naturally, people are, what you see right here is that they're back there in the back of their head, and it's not moving. Because you can't have bad head talk and think you're going to move forward. You can't have bad feelings and think you're going to move forward. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work. We've got to take control of our head talk. We got to talk and have debate with it. move our feelings forward, that we feel forward, like we want to go forward. That pulls our consciousness forward. It pulls our subconscious through repetition to go forward. And then the past does lose power over us. Now, it's not totally gone. It's always there, but we can definitely now move forward. And there's ways to go about reconciling your past, but that's not this webinar. That's also a really big help to reconcile reconcile your past. Does this make sense? I hope this makes sense. So the reason why I give you these 5 is so you have a chance to start. And I hope you remember what I emphasized on each one of those. Cool, huh? But that's what I could do for you. Like seriously, let's say you wanted to be trained by me, and we could get into all of the steps of you becoming a life coach and how to organize your content, what to do in an appointment, all the different steps, what and how seriously to really fully engage with this. Oh, it would be a kick. All my 16 years of experience just being channeled to you, that would be so awesome. What? You'd have such an advantage, instead of trying to start out by yourself and figure it out by yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong. Do-it-yourselfers, it's a wonderful thing to do, but it takes time. And if you have a lot of time to wait, and you're like, yeah, I got time. I got a couple years to figure this out, then do it yourself. But if you don't have a couple years to figure it out, you seriously ought to get connected with me. And so you can learn more in a fast-paced way and get it so you can deliver it and get you going. Because you probably have put this off for a while, becoming a life coach. I get it. Everybody does it. They put it off, and it wastes time. But you know, when it comes to wasting time, you can feel what's going on right now in this world. Time is getting short. You can feel it, can't you? I do too. I feel it. Now, when you coach, let me give you some insight. When you coach, here's something that I want to point out to you. Every human being has had experiences. They're all these memories, these stories, just like a picture frame on the wall. There's a picture and there's a story and there's thoughts and emotions about that particular experience. Those experiences create beliefs about oneself. Those beliefs now govern how we behave. And that behavior now directly influences results. How you treat your kids, how you treat yourself, how you treat your spouse, how you treat your friends, how you treat money, how you treat time, how you treat people in general. It affects everything. Everything. So these experiences that are going on in your life, what happens is they even though they're in the past, what happens is those experiences, even though they're 10 years old, 20 years old, what happens is those experiences created these beliefs about yourself. And these are the rules about who you are, what you can do, if you can do things right. And it's these past experiences that have this control over our belief system and then control our behavior. So as a life coach, I can't change people's past experiences. That's weird. We'd have to do time travel, right? But we can adjust the beliefs. Even though they had that experience, the experience never changes. It's the way it is, the perception of the way it is, but we can adjust the beliefs. The memory is there, but the belief it created, this right here was created from experiences. So that means that beliefs can be changed. Now, I'm not talking like, do you believe in God or not? Not that kind of belief. What I mean is that these are paradigms or beliefs or the way in which you see you and life and others. It's your perspective, your perception. And those are what your beliefs are. Like some people believe that money is bad. And other people believe that money is an item to use for transactions. So there's different beliefs. Some people believe that money is good. So we got people who think it's bad. We got people who think it's good. And then we have people who are totally neutral about it. And it's really interesting as you start to coach people, what you find in all the different ways that people think. It's really fascinating. Like I'll hold my appointments, and as I hold my appointments, as I'm coaching, I could be on one appointment with somebody who is like, money is the worst thing in the world. It's bad. It causes divorce. It causes, terrible things to happen in the world. And they're just so set on the fact that money is bad. And they're also broke. They don't have money. They're way behind on their house payments. They struggle getting food. Their cars are in terrible shape. And they really struggle. And I'll finish that coaching appointment and I'll jump on my next coaching appointment. And the next person's like, oh, money's like the best thing in this world. Like it's so good to move it around. Guess what, Kirk? I just closed a deal for $5,000. And this person's just thriving with money. Where the person right before that was just hating on money. And it's like, wow, there are so many different beliefs. Being a life coach, you get to see how all these people believe the ways that they believe. And you start to wake up more realizing, wait a minute, where is my belief in this? Wait a minute. It's so interesting. But I want to give you the insight that as you go to coach and you go to, make a difference in people's lives, you want to learn how to do this right here, how to find the belief and how to adjust the belief. Because that's the ticket. That's the golden ticket right there. To be able to see that there was an experience, see the belief that was created, and now help the person upgrade the belief so it is a helpful thing for them instead of a hindrance. It's like people are packed full of a lot of negative beliefs about themselves and about the world that really distort their behaviors and really mess up their ability to have results. And so there's not time here in this webinar to do the training on this. And it's not really a thing that I'd want to do in a webinar because there's a lot of intricacies in it. And I would really only want to talk to people who really are stepping into becoming a life coach. Because then the questions and the conversation can be really wrapped around that. But I wanted to give you the insight where to focus your education. And you could call this paradigms, you could call it beliefs, you could call it perceptions, what's other words? Opinions. I guess that's a common word is what's your opinion? And so it's an opinion. But remember that beliefs are in the subconscious where all the memories are stored. That's where they're at. Cool, huh? Okay, so I wanted to share that with you. Now that I brought up money, I want to show you something. Here's something crazy. And you might want to take some notes on this. Money is a fascinating thing because as a life coach, you could do life coach for free, right? You could just give of your time, of your effort, of your resources to be able to support people. And you can give. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very noble, very, very supportive, very kind to coach people for free. And there's a time and there's a place for that. Now, when this becomes an issue that starts to cost your family or cost you, and you start to lose because of the time investment and because of what you're doing, and you're not able to financially take care of yourself, then that's where I think it's not fair anymore. It's not fair because now you're helping people and you're steadily losing. What's up with that? How's that supposed to fix things? Now, I will say, I do know people who are life coaches who are massively broke. Like they are in the hole. They are super in debt, but they serve people in a great way, but they can't barely even pay their house payment. They can't even buy groceries. Their kids don't have shoes without holes. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad. I just hear them say it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but when they say it's bad, then I ask, do you want some help? And they're like, yeah, I'm giving a lot of time to this, Kirk. I really would like to be compensated for my time. And that makes sense. There's a lot of jobs in this world where you're compensated for your time that you give something. If you go get a job at a business down the road, you're going to give them your time and skill, and then that employer pays you. Nobody complains about that. Nobody says anything bad about that. That, oh, you got a job? Oh, you're giving them your time, and then you're applying what you know, and then they pay you? Okay, that's okay. But here's what's interesting is when you are self-employed and you go to give your time to help people, though some people out there in the world think that that's bad. It's like, wait a minute. I can go get a job and give of my time and a business owner pays me, and that's okay. And I'm going to give my time and my talents, and it's okay to get paid if I have a job. But if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to give of my time and talents, it's not okay for me to be paid? That's a little twisted. And you will probably bump into that with family members or friends who are going to say, you're helping people and you're getting paid for that? Oh, that's terrible. It's like, what are they thinking? If I go get a job down on Main Street at a business and I'm helping people, and I'm being nice and I help them with the products they're buying and I'm positive and motivating and I get a paycheck, nobody says anything. But for some weird reason, you become an entrepreneur and all of a sudden your family thinks that you're selling something that you shouldn't be selling. And it's like, I'm getting compensated for my time. So weird. Anyway, people out there are a little twisted when it comes to being an entrepreneur, that you're giving time and talents, just like if you had a job, but you're doing it for yourself. And so what happens is people start to think, well, I should do this for free because I'm helping somebody. It's like, okay, do it for free. But if you end up being broke and you're hungry and your family's going without, then you're doing that to yourself. Now, I know what that feels like, thinking that I should do this for free. Now, if you have money issues, you will probably end up doing life coaching for free. And then you're going to love life coaching and you're going to start adding clients to your appointments. And then you're most likely going to become broke. And then you're going to struggle. And then you're going to build resentment in helping people. Most people who are life coaches who are broke have hidden resentment towards what they do. And they're miserable doing what they love. That doesn't even make sense, but it's true. Miserable doing what they love. Are you miserable doing what you love? If so, you have resentment because it's an unfair transaction. It's an unfair agreement. There are times when things are unfair. It's just unfair. Like it's gone too far. Now, I'm going to talk to you right now about some money issues. I'm going to take 5 minutes here and walk you through something that I think is super important to realize so that you can have a better relationship with money. Because to do well with money, you have to have a better relationship with money. That's how money moves, is based upon relationships. And so if you're struggling with money, it's because you have issues with relationships. I know, but just hear me on this. Hear me out. Watch this. Okay, you have a relationship with money, and if it's not a good one, you're going to struggle with money. Also, you have a relationship with time. And if you have an issue with time, like you're always late, you can't get things done in time, you always feel like you don't have enough time, you have a bad relationship with time. And that's going to make you have a bad relationship with money. So all these things are relationships, money and time. Now, what about people? Do you have issues with some people in your life? That's a relationship. What about you? Do you like yourself? If you don't like yourself, you will end up having issues with time, and you will end up having issues with money because you don't like yourself. I'm serious. Oh, I know how your psychology works. I know how it works. Because I had to figure out Kirk Duncan because I was messed up. I was messed up with money. I was messed up with time. I was messed up. Now, where does this come from? It comes from thoughts and emotions. That's where it comes from. Your relationship with money comes from your relationship you have with you and other people. The better you have a relationship with yourself, you will manage your time better. But if you don't improve the relationship of thoughts and feelings with yourself, you will continue to struggle with time. And if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, you will struggle with time. And then because you struggle with time, you will struggle with money. Money issue is not just a money issue. The core issue is the relationship you have with yourself and relationship you have with others. And here's what the biggest culprit is. Let me show you what's in it. Okay, down here in the thoughts and emotions is angry and hurt. Anger and hurt throws you off really bad. It causes a bunch of conflict inside. And how many times do we get hurt in this life? Hundreds, thousands of times. How often are we silently angry? Oh, you're a lot more angry than you'll admit it. That's the biggest thing that people won't admit to, is their level of anger towards things. Everybody wants to act like they're nice, and so they cover up being upset and being angry. But anyway, if you have money issues, it's because you're angry. I'm serious. I'm not pulling your leg. I'm serious. I've been doing this for years. When somebody has money issues, I go look for where they're angry. Because if you're angry, then anger gets into here and messes you up. And now you don't have a good relationship with yourself and with other people. And now you're going to be messed up with time, which then creates a mess up with money. Money issues are not about money. It's about relationships. And it starts with self. I know you don't want to hear this, but this is good to hear. So you know that there's a way to fix it, right? Okay, then anger and hurt creates people issues, which then creates not enough time, which creates not enough money. And so to fix my money issues, I came down here to the beginning of everything. My thoughts and my emotions about me. My thoughts and my emotions about others. Because that is the first and foremost relationship, is me and others. Now, if you're a believer in God, then we'd put God in there too. And if you're not a believer, and then you wouldn't even think to go there. So it's not, don't worry about that. But I think just keep it baseline, the beginning steps is the relationship you have with yourself and the relationship you have with others. If it's in a rough spot, then you're not going to be on with time. You can't be accurate with time. And you're always off in your predictions and all your scheduling and everything that you do. It just doesn't work. You're always behind. You're just falling behind all the time. It's because you have issues with you, because you're angry and hurt. And then you can't really deal with money, and you just kind of like block it, like, I just hate this stuff. And so hate and anger gets pointed towards money like it's supposed to come to you when you're hateful. It's not going to happen. You need help with you. Just putting it on the table. So that means start patching up your relationship with yourself and with others. Start patching up things. Take a bite of humble pie and patch things up. Quit being so bent out of shape about people. It's ruining your ability to manage time and manage money. It's ruining you. It's not going to serve you. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, because as a life coach, it's okay to be paid because you're giving of your time and talents, just like if you went and got a job. It's like, except that you now hired yourself. And if somebody tries to talk you out of it and say, this is not ethical, say, oh, you want me to go get a job? Yeah, you should just go get a job. What are they going to do? Well, they'll pay you for what? Oh, your time and talents. Why can't I be my own boss? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being paid for your time and talents. It's going on today in hundreds and millions of places around the world. People are being paid for their time and talents. If you decide to be an entrepreneur, there's nothing wrong with it. Now you're the boss, and you're going to pay yourself for being the boss and being the one doing the work. It's the same thing. Don't let anybody talk you out of that it's terrible. Don't let them say, oh, it's terrible to, charge people for helping them. I take my car to the mechanic. He charges me. I go get my tire fixed. They charge me. I go to the grocery store. They charge me. I go to the gas station. They charge me. Can you believe they charge me for food? They should give me food for free because I need to live. But if I don't have money, they don't give me food. They charge. They charge you for gas and food and your house and your electricity and your plumbing and all this stuff. They charge you to pick up your garbage. How come they don't do it for free to keep the world clean? So when people go to poke at you because you decide to offer your services and they poke at you about that, stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself. Now, I'm going to put this in your ear, and I don't know if this is going to be good for you or not, but I'm going to put this in front of you. There's a lot of ways to create $10,000. There's a lot of ways. And I enjoy teaching people how to create $10,000 a month. It's the coolest thing. I love teaching people how to create $10,000. Now, I can teach them, but they got to do it. If they don't do it, it doesn't work. But this is my most favorite thing to do is, well, first one is change beliefs. And then number two, hey, let's create an income for you so that you can pay your bills, you can pay off your debts, and then you can use that money to help other people. Like, there's nothing wrong with $10,000. You could work with 400 people at $25 each and make $10,000. You could do a webinar. People all over the world are looking for people to teach them. For $25 ticket, 400 people, that's $10,000. $10,000. You could have $100 training you want to give people, just $100, only $100, and have 100 people want that for $100. That's $10,000. But I sure like this one. 400 at $25. How many people would pay you $25 to learn from you? 400 people. Like, it's so crazy. Now, let's say you got a little bit more confidence and courage inside of you. 10 people at 1,000 is $10,000. You guys can see the math, but look at that. A $25 ticket to learn from you. 400 people. Are there 400 people in this world? There's a lot of people in this world. And with the internet, you can talk to the whole entire world. So what I'm showing you is $10,000. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you're not charging them an arm and a leg and a kidney. You're not. $25, $50 is not a lot. $100 is not a lot. It's not. People will pay $100 to get life issues solved. So you can create this. I promise you can create this, but you have to do what it takes. It's not just poof. You got to work. You have to work at this. But I'm going to put this in your eyeball right now. Just put this in front of you. Look at this. $25. Look at that. Let's say it was only 200 people. Oh, okay. It was 5,000. There's such an immense amount of opportunity in front of you to be able to love on people so you can get better at time. And it's like, oh, Kirk, this isn't true. You don't know. You haven't done this process. You've struggled with time and money all your life. And you don't know what happens here because you've never known where the core issues are. These are the two core issues that mess up time and money right there. But anyway, love on people. And then you give of your time and your talents to serve people. It's okay to pay your bills. It's okay to provide food for your family. It's okay. If you went and got a job, they'd do the same thing. They'd give you a paycheck. But now you're in charge. And you're going to decide what you have and what its value is. And then the people will pay you as long as you can explain it well, right? So lots of opportunities. There's so many different kinds of people who are life coaches. I know my son, Cody, he became a life coach at 16. He had people paying him to teach them about the topic he had to teach. He was holding appointments at 16. Seriously. People would drive to come see him to hold an appointment so that he could coach them at 16 years old and be compensated for his time and talents. And the people who were in that mentoring process, they loved it. They got huge value from it. Every single person can be financially free if they will use their gifts and talents, if they will use what God has given them. God gave you a gift to help other people so that you can be financially free. I don't think God wants you to be broke and poor and miserable. That's not what he created for you. No, he gave you time. He gave you gifts and talents. And he also gave you a life that has time and resources to be able to do something in this life. But if you still believe you can't because of money issues, time issues, you're not smart enough, then your head's still stuck in the backwards. It's still going the other way. Okay, here's the missing piece I want to just give you here. Knowing why you want to do this, knowing why you want to work with them, whoever those people are, knowing why you, and knowing why now will wake you up. It's the 4 whys. Why them, why now, why you, why now. Answer those questions sooner than later and focus on these answers. And you'll start to feel your heart rev up. And then take over your mind of what it's doing to you. Seriously, get in there. Get in there and take over your mind so you can be a forward thinker, so you can get active in doing this. And then create clarity on what you want to teach. Get committed to changing people's lives and then become consistent in teaching others. You have to stay in the game to win the game. You can't get out halfway through the game and think you're going to win. And winning means you being financially free, you living your life purpose, you fulfilling what you were designed to do. You are designed to teach, to help, to serve, to move people. And I'm going to say it, to interrupt people. I love this quote. It's not the strongest, of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. You are going to become a change agent, someone who creates change for their own ancestral line, a person who creates change for others. We as a human race must adapt or we don't make it. And people today are a little too comfortable and they're struggling with adaptation. And they're going to get stuck in their head and they're not going to adapt. And they're going to struggle and become super, super miserable and super, super depressed. You and me, we got to get ourselves out there and help people in the area we know we can cause help. You got to get off the bench. You got to get off the bench, get to the front of the line, and be here on the front lines. Get off the bench. Quit sitting on the bench, watching the rest of us do this. Get off the bench. Get up, get walking up to the front lines and help us with what's going on in the world. People are stuck. They don't know how to adapt. They don't know how to change. They don't know what's going on with them. They don't know. You get off the bench. There's not enough of us on the front lines who know what we're doing. There's not enough. I don't care what you see on Facebook. I don't care what you see on social media. If you look at the real world is still very unconscious about life coaches. But in the social media world, it looks like everybody's doing it. It's like, it's not. If life coaches were really doing their thing, then we would be solving problems. We would be making things happen, but there's not enough people. Don't get deceived in thinking there's too many life coaches. There's not. There's still too many suicides. There's still too many divorces. There's still too many businesses failing. There's still too many people depressed, anxious, hating on life. There's too many people confused and lost and just in chaos. There's too many people. Too many people. And you felt the calling. Get off the bench. Get off the bench. Live your life purpose. Live it. Quit listening to your head tell you you can't do this. Live your life purpose. I finally got here. It was a fight. It was a wrestle with my brain. My brain wanted to be the bossy pants. It did. It wanted to be the bossy pants and tell me what I can and can't do. And your brain's doing it to you. Takes one to know one. So my life, this is where I'm at. What I'm doing, personal improvement, serve others, global impact, help the children, create a legacy, live my purpose. This is your checklist too. And I'm going to put it out there. I know this is a big thought, but I'm going to tell you right now, you are a global life coach. You will be helping people around the world. You have spiritual agreements with people who live in other countries who you will find. You step up to your life purpose, you will find those spiritual agreements you have with people, and you will feel it when you meet them. You will feel it. And you'll know, wow, I needed to find this person. I'm here for them. You're going to make a difference. Going to make a difference. But it all comes down to what you think. If you can do this or not. Now, you can go this route in making it work. You know, this is the do-it-yourselfer route. You'll get there sooner or later. Or you could do this. You could know that there's steps along the way. You can. But if you felt like me, and it's like you feel mentally out of shape, socially awkward, emotionally out of balance, you procrastinate, you're riddled with excuses, you're not a lost cause. You're not. You just need some head work. We can clean your head up, all right? We can clean your head up, and I can help you with that. You don't have to have it all figured out to take the step. You don't have to have it figured out. But if your heart has moved you at some point in your life to say, you know what, we need to help people, and your head's in the way and you just don't know what to do, we can get you there. I can get you there. We can make it work. But you got to believe in yourself just a little bit, like it's possible, just a little bit. Now, the piece right here in the middle that I know that's just the key component of you being successful is to practice what you learn. And I'm fully aware of what kind of practice that looks like. I teach people how to become life coaches, right? I teach them, I help them. And of course, I have a program to make a difference, and that's called Kirk Duncan Mastermind. This is a group of classy people who felt it in their heart, and they are getting their heads straight, and they are serving people. They're in it. They're on. They're going. And it's a mastermind because there's so much support, so much help, so much education, so much help, like you can't help but point yourself forward. Yeah, you'll wrestle with, possibly thinking backwards and getting stuck, but don't worry. The way that I've designed this mastermind is to move you forward. So I put this in front of you, on the table in front of you, for you to consider taking a step. And let me just show you the simple step, what this looks like. The simple step is to go to, let me get to the slide, go to this site right here. Right here, this is, let me get there. This right here is 3ke.2/book a call. So you can write that down in your notes. Go to this place, 3ke.2/book a call. It's a simple step. And what this means is you're going to go to my calendar, and on my calendar, you will see some open days. And when you go to that site, let me show you. You're going to go to the site. It's going to show you some open days with some open appointments for you to talk to one of my awesome team members. And they're going to tell you all about the mastermind. And they can answer your questions about how it works. And then you can find out if this would be a really good step for you to take in getting fully active as a life coach, like really stepping into it. Now, to help you, we have that site you can go to right here, but to also help you, right here over on the right-hand side, there is, let me pull this up for you. Over here on the right-hand side, it just popped up. You see over on the side of your screen where it says Kirk Duncan Mastermind. You see that green bar where it says click here to book a call. You could go there right now and book a call. And seriously, you really are going to get on the call. And then what happens is my team will find out where you're at, what you're doing, what your desire, what your interest is in who you want to serve. And then they're going to tell you and tell you about the program. And then they're going to answer all your questions. They'll give you all the details, what it takes to register to be part of this 16-week experience. I know. Did you just hear that? A 4-month training program on how to be a fantastic coach. If you want to be a presenter, this is a great way to learn how to be a presenter. You want to be a facilitator, you want to do webinars, you want to mentor. Okay, wait a minute. What's the difference between, this is the question I get a lot. What's the difference between a coach and a mentor? So here's an easy way to look at this. A coach follows a curriculum. A mentor has a menu of options to pull from to teach. So a coach goes like lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A mentor will have 5 principles, and they can do them in any order. So that's how I see coach and mentor. And that's how I've seen people who have mentored me and coached me. Generally, coaches follow a curriculum, no matter where you're at. And a mentor has this menu of wisdom and they pull from that. And I do both. I coach and I mentor. But if you've ever wanted to like get into this and like really learn, I've got 16 years of experience to share with you. I'm serious. I've created 16 modules, trainings that are in order, ready to go. And so that's the coaching part, is you're going to get great coaching on how to get organized. But then every Monday, you get on a Monday training every Monday morning at 7 a.m. and you get mentoring from me with the rest of the group. That's the mastermind. You're going to receive mentoring while you're listening to me work with someone else or answer questions. So I do coaching and mentoring. So it's a curriculum and it's custom. And the whole intention is to get you to move forward and to keep your head straight and to finally live your life purpose. Finally, get you moving. And a fantastic support experience. Wonderful people, classy people. Oh, just love them. I just could squish all of them. I just want to hug them all. I know every single person. I've talked to every person in this mastermind and I get who they are. And they're fantastic. Fantastic, gifted and talented people who are going to make a difference in the world, and they're living their life purpose. That's the coolest part. They can go to bed at night knowing that they're active in living their life purpose, right? So I want to bridge the gaps between you getting clear, getting organized, seeing your talents and abilities, and then serve others. We got to bridge the gap. We got to create some bridges here so you can connect the points and get moving. So if this is something, you're like, whoa, maybe I had to check this out. I want to check this out. Then go over here and click here to book a call. My calendar will open up. You'll see the calendar, choose one of those times, and you'll be talking to either Cody or Wayne. And they're both dynamic. I mean, they are my two leaders of the company that literally have my highest level of trust. They are fantastic. They will take really good care of you, very respectful, very courteous, very kind, very gentle conversation. And they will give you all the details of what you want to know about the mastermind and ask them questions about it. Totally ask them questions. And one of the questions we get is, has anybody else done this before? You know, I mean, we have a lot of success stories. I mean, seriously, so many success stories that happen. And some of them, I was just like, wow, they're making an impact. Like it works. Like they're doing it. It's so cool to watch a person become alive and become active. It's so beautiful what happens. And you can look right here. You can see this, what the kind of thing that can happen, becoming an author, become a presenter, create a podcast, be able to finish the things you feel inspired to do. I know you have been inspired. I know it. And I know you're hiding that inspiration. I know it. I get it. Because your head is playing games with you. Here, we don't play games. We do the work, right? We do the work. Now, I want to point out a couple of success stories. So over here on the top right, I just tracked my March income. I have made $10,000 or more income for 3 months in a row now. What? Oh yeah. Let's applaud that mindset. Over here, I just did a webinar today based on your training from 2 mastermind calls ago. I've already had $6,800 in sales and it's only $330. Thank you for teaching me how to make a better webinar. What? You guys, I'm serious. You're just missing the education and the skill. Get your head in the game and look what can happen. And I know your head's going to tell you, oh, you can't do this. Oh, this is going to be too expensive. Oh, this is too hard. It's not the right time. And really, the only thing between you and living your life purpose is your head. That's it. Like it's messing with you. It's messing with you. Don't let your head mess with you. Go click that green button on my side. It's green. I hope it's green on your side, but click that button on the side. It says click here to book a call. And if you got to run because you're busy, okay, we'll come back later this afternoon and then click it. Or you could type this into your phone, 3ke.2/book a call. It's a very gentle step. And then you can make a decision. But I'm going to ask you, hey, don't book a call if you're just going to mess with my people. Don't do that. Come on, be respectful, right? Be respectful back. If you really are not interested in being in the mastermind, don't book a call. You'll be taking that appointment away from somebody else. So if you got that mean bone in your body and you're like, oh, I'm going to mess with their system, well, karma will get you. So I already know that. Just don't mess with it. Just only those people who really see that I could be a great teacher for them, then you book a call. But if it's not your thing, totally cool. Don't do it. Don't go there. Please don't do that. Okay, so my team and I are here to serve you. And we've been doing this for 16 years, and it's now time for us to serve and help other people. I've changed my whole dynamics of my business in the last year. God intervened and asked me last year to shut down all my classes except for this one. And he asked me to build this one. Last year, when we were doing great, everything was going along great, just fine. God says, you need to shift because you need to teach people because there's an urgency. You need to teach people how to coach other people because there is an urgency, and go help them. And so I made some very drastic decisions last year that were scary, and it was a big deal. But the part that I pulled from this is that it's an urgency. And I know you feel it too. It's an urgency. And so the timing of you stepping up and doing this work, you can wait longer. But if you're feeling like, man, I got to get started on this, then jump on a call with my team member and find out if we're the fit, if this is for you. But you can go there right now and book a call, and you'll be respected. It's a great conversation. You'll walk away from that conversation enlightened. That's how we are and who we are. We've been around for a long time, and we're going to be around for a lot longer. This is my thing. This is my purpose. And so I look forward to hopefully I get a chance to work with you. And just so you know, there's some perks, by booking a call. And if you decide to jump into the mastermind, then just to give you a heads up, then you and I will be having a personal mentoring appointment, like just you and me. Like there's some personal things here, like we get to work with each other. That comes as a perk by jumping into the mastermind. So much good. So much good. So thank you. I want to honor the time here and just tell you thank you for being part of this webinar today. And Kirk and Kim Duncan and the 3 Killings team is here to stay. We've gone through a lot over the last 16 years, and we're very clear what's going on in the world. There is evil on the planet doing evil things. And there's a lot of good people who can do a lot of good. We just need to help them all get their head pointed in the same direction. And you can be part of the movement. You can be part of this great cause. And you can be part of this great crusade to serve others in protecting family, protecting our children, protecting our freedom. You can step up and get off of the bench and walk up to the front lines and join us in the movement for truth and for freedom. You can. And if your head's not quite in it, it's okay. I'll train you. You don't have to know anything about being a life coach to start here. It starts from the beginning. And this training is built exactly the way I wish I would have had it. So it's going to work just great for you too. Super cool, huh? Super cool. Okay, I got to go back to one slide. Here before we go. Wait for it. Wait for it. Go back to this slide. Get your head in the game. I'm going to put this right up here. Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. Pay attention to what's going on inside your head, my friend. Pay attention. Okay, go book a call, get your head straight, and take action on these 5. Take action. Okay, love you. Thanks for being here. And super cool. And I'll be talking to you again soon because I love doing webinars about every 2 weeks. I'll send you the notice about what the next one's going to be about, and love to talk to you then too. Okay, go book a call. Awesome. Love you guys. Thanks. Bye.